Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Debrief, second week running with myself, Conor McGilligan, Brownie and KG. We're doing fantastically well in this section, and Leeds United coming back from a disappointing 1-0 loss at Southampton, probably the worst result under the Bielsa reign, coming back with a good 1-1 result against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I thought we were going to get beat, so to get a draw out of it from the position that we're in was a decent result. But yeah, I hope you're all doing fantastically well. A load of comments coming in straight away. Obviously, this is one Leeds' first reaction. I did no review after the weekend. Evening, Connor, Brownie and KG. Hello, on time. Wow, says John. I don't know if you're digging us out there, John. I feel like last week were we not on time last week? I don't know. Gail in the house for KG, I presume, already coming in. Well played, Liverpool. Love that, Gail. Definitely, we'll get onto that as well. Good evening, lads. Hi, lads. A-team. Love that. Paul Stevens. Hi, boys. Great second half yesterday. Massive shout out to the fans. Amazing. Yeah, let's get into it. KG, how you doing, mate? All right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm battling a little bit of a sore throat, cold kind of thing here, so just bear with me, people. But yeah, other than that, all good, man.
Yeah, bro, good stuff. Brownie, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. I'm sure we've all just about finished wetting ourselves from the super sunny this afternoon, and we didn't get beat, so.
Yeah, it sort of edges it, doesn't it? When they lose and we have a reasonably positive result, it's like, yeah, it's a good weekend. It's a good weekend. There we go. KG, you'll love this one. Connor wearing Wolves colours again. If you've not checked my preview out, I was at Ellen Road sporting some orange black attire, which got absolutely hammered by you guys. So I appreciate
that. And I bet you that wasn't even on purpose, was it, Connor?
Mate, it's just a nice coat that I bought for my birthday. Got to Ellen Road. I was doing a preview. Was getting hammered in the comments wearing Wolves. There you go. Tribalism at its finest. But
saying that, there was a guy at Ellen Road wearing the orange goalkeeper top. I found that quite bizarre. of all the games to wear it, I found it really bizarre. But hey ho.
Okay, so Leeds United won. Wolverhampton Wanderers won. Come to the direct question straight away. KG, Wolves winning 3 on the bounce, 4 out of 5. Raul Jimenez coming back into the side seems to have changed their fortunes massively. Chan up front on loan from RB Leipzig has been an absolute fire. Overall, mate, is that a good point?
Yeah, it was an excellent point in the end. I mean, yesterday I was talking to you offline there, but I felt like I was getting a few pelters late yesterday because I wasn't in the full passion merchant mode of going overboard for a draw at home against Wolves. But my base is on the bigger picture, because the first half, which people have men in black out of their minds, they've just gone and just forgotten about it, was very poor. Everything was going through Raphinha as expected. But even my friend voice messaged me and said, listen, Raphinha's carrying your team on your back. And I was like, I know he is. Because anything that he wasn't doing, the rest of the players weren't connecting. You can see that Raphinha was getting a bit frustrated with a couple of the players too, especially when Harrison, all he had to do was pull that ball back and Raphinha would have slotted it in while he was running in. And up until Raphinha got injured, which is when the players started to play, and this is where I give credit to the players, because they could have easily down tools at 1-0 down, Raphinha going off and saying, you know what, we're out of this. But they must have just said between them, somebody's got to take the game on here. We've all got to do our bit now. Raphinha's not here. Let's go. And that's kind of what happened. It took the subs as well, getting Click off and Gelhardt on, Harrison off at halftime for Roberts, etc. But yeah, I mean, the last 20-odd minutes were really, really good. That was what we expect to see as Leeds United under Bielsa. And I think that's why there's context, isn't it? That's why people were so giddy about the last 20 minutes, because we haven't really seen it this season. So, yeah, listen, it was a good point, but again, at the end of the day, and this is where I felt like I was like Paul Scholes after Man United at Atlanta, where I'm dampening it, but I'm really not. But we are still 17th with 7 points from 9 games, -8 goal differential. And not only that, Watford beat Everton away. So we didn't even get close to Watford on the weekend. So, but we can expect. I think we're going to do Norwich next week. And hopefully Bielsa continues with making changes to the team that he did and see that he can trust a couple of our young players too.
Yeah, nice summary. Brownie. Obviously, as I said, Wolves winning 3 on the bounce. The lineup was interesting. Seemingly, Dan James was centre forward. It was quite nice because I thought there was a really good rotation between the front 4 during the game, which was a little bit different to what we were doing previous weeks when it just seemingly be us lumping the ball to Rodrigo and expecting some different results against 6'3", 6'4" centre backs. What did you make of how Leeds started the game, mate, and ultimately the lineup?
Well, I was excited with the lineup. I think we all were happy to see the lineup, but I echo what KG said a little bit. To be honest, other than the Harrison chance in the first half, it was seeing a lot of the ball without really doing anything with it. It was a typical Wolves get the goal, and then they didn't have to do anything. So people probably come away saying we should have won, but up until the 94th minute, Wolves just didn't really have to do anything else because they got the goal. And like last season, they got the goal and then just killed the game for fun. And yesterday was, it bordered on, well, I will say it was embarrassing. It went beyond that line of embarrassment. They were going down with cramp left, right and centre. It takes me back to like Barcelona back in the POM where they'd take it in turns to break play up with fouls. These were just taking it in turns to go down with cramp. Honestly, it was something else. But yeah, we did control that first half and the second without having to really do anything. We had, like KG said, the Harrison chance in the first half, and I did feel like we did go back to that, knocking that ball long a little bit. And again, we're getting to good positions around the box, but just not shooting. And in the end, like you said, Raphinha went off, and I think for the first few minutes after Raphinha went off, the ground felt it a little bit. And I remember saying to myself, we could not end up getting a shot here for the rest of this game. It had that feeling. Then from nowhere, the ground just sort of, it was weird. The ground just went off. Flags flying around, scarves flying around, sorry. It just got louder and louder and louder. And I think there was a tackle that went in. I think someone pressed one of the Wolves centre-halves. And you know what Leeds like? Leeds like to see that. The Leeds like to see tackles going in and just a bit of effort and commitment. And I can't remember who it was that pressed. It might have been Dan James. And it forced them to kick it out. And then from there, the decibels just went up and up and up. And that last 20 minutes, it was one-way traffic. But up until that, it was pretty bleak, that second half. And I think what KG was saying about people had forgotten about that. Everybody went home on a high. But would we have had the same thoughts about the game if we don't get that penalty in the 94th minute? It's one of them. How do we feel if we didn't get that penalty in the 94th minute? Which obviously I'm ecstatic that we did. And was it a good point? It's a brilliant point if we back it up with a win next week. If we back it up with a win next week, it is a really good point. And next week it's mental, innit? With 9-10 games in, and we're already looking at fixtures. And there's a couple of teams down at the bottom next week. I think it's Southampton, Palace. A few teams play each other, and the other teams are playing. One's playing Chelsea, one's got Tottenham, who've come off the back of a bad result today. So next week is a good chance for Leeds to pick up 3 points, and the others are playing difficult games. So yeah, I think it was a good point as long as we back it up next week. Yeah.
Colin Kirwan, thank you for your donation, mate. Evening lads from Ireland, great addition with KG. Deserved draw or more. Hope more players back to smash Norwich Super Leeds. And it does feel, KG, as what Brownie was saying, and I completely agree with everything he was saying there, that this Wolves game can only mean something if we go and beat Norwich. That's how it's feeling right now. I think the Wolves game it's a great point. I think I didn't expect us to get a point out of that game, but it has to be backed up with not a point at Norwich, not a point in a good performance, but a win. Yeah. And that has to be the minimum expectation against Norwich.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that the Norwich manager was talking after they got, humped by Chelsea yesterday, he's looking at our game as a point where they can get points from. He's looking at our game as if they can possibly beat Leeds United. And they even said today on Sky, looking like a relegation battle between Norwich and Leeds. So we need to get out of this, because as much as people are sticking their heads in the cloud, other people are looking at us with all the numbers in front of them and saying that we're in trouble. I don't think it's there just yet. I really don't. But we do need to beat Norwich. And I'm going by, yes, we haven't been perfect this season, but Norwich are literally offering 0 this season. So much to the point people want to do petitions to get them out of the Premier League and never see them again. You know what I mean? They are so bad. So these are games. I mean, I've said it for Burnley, I've said it for Newcastle, etc. But sorry, Norwich has to be 3 points. If you'd be very disappointed if we don't get 3 points against Norwich. I know I will be.
I think as well, when you look at it, KG, it's like, obviously we've played Burnley now, we've played Newcastle now, we played Watford, obviously, and you chuck Norwich into that, it simply can't be 3 points from 4 there, can it?
Yeah, exactly, because we didn't pick up the maximum points in a lot of games, and we'll throw in Newcastle.
Sorry, 5 points in 4.
Yeah,
Forget we didn't lose to those others.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but we do have to win these games, because you just look at the quality from last year we were being compared in the realm with West Ham and stuff. West Ham stepped up a gear again, so we need to look at these games and get maximum points, because I think we've got Leicester and Spurs after. I think so. Don't quote me on that, people, but yeah, 3 points is a must next week for sure.
Was that in the first half yesterday? One of Raphinha's best performances. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, at half time I spoke to my brother, and my brother just basically said, forget 60 million. 60 million's not enough. Teams are coming with 60 million. It's not enough, because he was everywhere. He really was everywhere. Like, I know our fullbacks follow the wingers inside, and Shackleton was getting dragged all the way across quite a lot, especially in that first half. And Raphinha was finding himself in the right back. But he was everywhere. Was Raphinha. You see these luxury players that only like to go one way, whereas Raphinha, he does it both. He does get back and he does defend, and he's. There was a time where a ball got played over the top. Shackleton had been dragged across by the winger, and it was bouncing and bouncing. And I think Meslier should have come for it, and it made Raphinha he had to come all the way back, and then he's giving him some, and I loved it. I love to see him actually giving him something. I just see that passion, and to see that he actually cares, because he can go wherever he wants, let's be right, but he's still putting in a shift. He's still putting in a hell of a shift. And I think we touched on it when he went off injured. It could have really been like, oh my God, another one to add to the injury list. We could have really capitulated, and we didn't. And like you said at the top of the show, Wolves had won 3 on the bounce. I felt like we restricted them quite a lot. Yeah, they scored early and they didn't really have to push on and do anything. Podence, I think, could have made it 2-0. In about the 80th minute, he went through from one of our corners, and we got back in good numbers. But it did have that feeling like we could have potentially won it. But on the flip side, Wolves didn't really have to do anything because they were already leading. So it was their game plan, get a goal. And I think they were happy with the point themselves. Even I think when it went 1-1, they still didn't seem to want to go for it because it was one-way traffic. But going back to Raphinha, he really is. Everything goes through him. Every time we get the ball, we're looking for him. I'm just hoping he's available for Norwich.
Yeah, it seems as well, I mean, I was looking at the stats after the game, and I think we've had 17 shots, 4 on target. And I think Wolves finished with something like it was 7 or 8 shots and 4 on target as well. There lies the problem, doesn't it, KG? And obviously we'll get onto it in a little while. But I didn't expect that impact from Gelhardt. And we're not going to work in chronological order. We're just going to go bit by bit, because I think, points link in what we're going to be talking about. But just in terms of in terms of the shots that Wolves faced, it once again, they were speculative, but you saw a huge difference in the second half in terms of momentum, intensity, and just accuracy when Gelhardt came onto the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. And unlike the Southampton game where it was wrong to bring him on because we weren't doing anything, we was actually on the front foot. So this was perfect for him to come into and make an impact. And for me, I've been shouting for Gelhardt to start for a few weeks now because you can just see in his games. I can't explain it. I've just got the eye. I don't get it right all the time, but I just know sometimes. I can't be great all the time, just most of it, But I could just tell that he was going to do something like that. All the dribbling that he was doing, these are three big guys that he's dribbling through. And as somebody said on my channel yesterday, actually, a viewer left a really good comment. He did it, and I don't want to jump on him right now, but he did. He's done more in that little bit than some people have done in 60-plus games. That is what you were going to
you were going to mention a certain someone there.
Some people.
You said some people.
I'm not going to mention his name. I won't mention his name, but I did. You know what? I wasn't even angry when he passed it out of play, unopposed, in front of the West Stand. For the second time in the game, I actually started laughing. I actually laughed. I wasn't even angry anymore.
KG, did you do that on purpose? You can just say some people. That's it.
No. Listen. It was one of my views that left the comment about, and he was right. Gelhardt was giving us that attacking impetus that a lot of players haven't been giving us, and it was that. Yeah. It's like I said. I think I said it last week. Take out one of the two R's and put Gelhardt in because we're not getting anything from those two, and if we don't get anything from Gelhardt, we're not missing anything. He's given us that, and for me, he's a must start against Norwich.
Absolutely. So can I ask you there then? So I completely agree with you. I don't think now. I think that's him done with the 23s. If you've seen what he's done in that game, he's been slowly nurtured into this side by Bielsa. We've seen that, but for me, he's out of that 23 setup now. So what happens to him now? Is this are we looking at a Joe Gelhardt starting most weeks in both your opinion, or is this a Joe Gelhardt where we still have to be extremely careful with how much first team Premier League we expose him to?
I'll let Brownie go.
I remember thinking for the first, because it didn't explode straight away yesterday. I remember for the first 5 or 10 minutes having the feel of the Fulham game where I actually said we had Somerville, we had Gelhardt, we had Dan James. I mean, my height, Connor. I felt like I'd have been tall in that front three. And it felt like that's why I was feeling where we're going to get a shot from. And it had that feeling of when he came on against Fulham, he isn't getting a kick. And then from nowhere, honestly, he started dribbling. He got the shot off where the keepers tipped it over, which we had some venom behind the strike as well. And then right at the end in the 94th minute, he had another shot. He was just... I liked how positive he was. And that's what when KG mentions about other people in the attacking areas, he was getting the ball and actually running directly into the box. None of this pass, touch. He was getting it and running at people. And is he done with the 23s? I maybe wouldn't say done, but I remember when a certain Alan Smith came on at Anfield and scored, and then from nowhere he was just involved all the time. And it has that feeling. It really does have that feeling. Like KG says, he has done more in that 25 minutes than some people have done this season.
Yeah, for me, he becomes now our second striker behind Patrick Bamford. When Bamford is looking to come off, or Bielsa wants to change it, he's the first port of call for me now, and he should have been probably before. But I will trust Bielsa's judgment in that. Maybe he thought he wasn't ready. For me, he is that option now, and he gives Bamford the competition up front. Genuine, serious competition, as in a goal threat. So yeah, let's not slow him down. Let's build on the momentum that he's got. Put him in against Norwich, because Norwich are definitely there to be got as well. Yeah. They're so bad. If no one's seen them play yet this season, you'll be. They really are just a championship team, just coming up for Premier League money just to go back down again. It's unacceptable in all fairness, but it's up to us to put him out there, start him, and let's see how he gets on, because I think he'll score in that game.
It is a good point. It is a perfect game to play him. I mean, what are they on? -21 goal difference already after 9 games. It is shocking, really. It is. They scored 2 goals. They really are there to be get out. But and I'm sure everybody listening, we shouldn't be scared of a team that can't hit a barn door. But that's a very Leeds United thing, isn't it? They've not won a game this season. You just know, you can see what's going to happen. But that is us in a nutshell. But yeah, like KG says, if he plays and he has to come off after 60, 70 minutes because he's not done anything, there's other players that have started games this season have been in the same boat. So it's not like we're gambling, is it? Because others have done that anyway. But I think it'd be exciting. It's we have unearthed a gem, and I think it was you, Connor, who tweeted out £1 million. £1 million is scandalous, to be honest.
I think as well, like it is that is what KG was saying as well. It's that person who's direct. It's another X factor, because I'm just getting a little bit sick of. And don't get me wrong, it's exactly what KG said. We've won the game, and it feels like we've won the game. We've drawn the game. Feels like we've won the game. We've drawn the game, and everybody's coming out and have that feel. But I think overall, you've got to look at it, and still there are key players in that side who've been within the system now for a number of years, who still, for me, aren't stepping up to the plate. You look at, especially this season, Jack Harrison, Matthias Klick in particular. And I think it's great to see someone like Joe Gelhardt, who will take the ball by the horns, and he will get the ball and run at defenses. He'll run at midfield. And that is not what you want in the 70th, 80th minute of any game as a defensive player, a young attacking player with no fear running at you. And I think that is massively advantageous. And a depleted Norwich City side, which, let's be right, originally, even without players out, i.e. Ben Gibson and co, they shouldn't be able to deal with us anyway. There is no excuses going into next week. And I just want to get your thoughts as well. We've spoken about one starlet in Joffy. I want to get your thoughts on Somerville as well. He looked like he came to the party a little bit yesterday, KG.
Yeah, again, like a bit like Gelhardt, he took a few minutes to warm up and get into the room, because it was very unexpected for him to come on, with Raphinha's injury, which I'm sure we'll touch on as well. But yeah, Somerville, that's the Somerville that we've been seeing in the under-23s, just direct, running past players, dribbling past players, putting balls in across the box. He was fantastic. He was a big part, along with Gelhardt, of the revival in the last 20 minutes. So if Raphinha does have to miss the Norwich game just out of caution, how Bielsa is, I would have no problem starting Somerville against that Norwich City team. And I'm fully aware that we'd still have to win the game against Norwich and play them, but I would have no qualms of putting him in that game starting if we have to.
So in your opinion then, KG, when you're just looking at it from an outside perspective right now, you would be looking to start, from what you've just said, Joe Gelhardt and Crysencio Somerville if Raphinha is out. That would be what you would be looking at, two sort of kids starting in such a massive game.
Yes, because we're not getting anything from a few of the players, and I love Harrison. Trust me, I think he's really good, but he hasn't done it this season. It's been pretty poor when he's been on, and that's why even at halftime when he got hooked for a certain somebody, I didn't even say anything, because he was that bad,
And it's poor Saturday. It was poor Saturday.
Yeah, it's so unlike Jack Harrison as well to be so sloppy with the ball. He's usually the one where you can trust him for a good first touch and a good whipping with a low cross and stuff. And he's not even doing that properly this season. And I think that shot where he skewed it and didn't pass it back to Raphinha is kind of a snapshot of his season so far.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. No, I feel sometimes with Harrison, I've said this multiple times, it is about, when those players, those key players aren't available, you're looking at your Bamfords, you're looking at your Raphinhas, and I've said this and I got a few people disagreeing with me, which is fair enough. I think he has to be the main man sometimes. And I think when he's by himself in this setup, I think he needs the likes of Raphinha. He needs the likes of Rodrigo, Bamford in and around him in an offensive capacity. I feel he has got to get to that stage where he is able to carry this Leeds side a little bit going forward. And I think he's still not at that point at Leeds. And I think we've seen that really when we've seen the likes of Raphinha out and Bamford out.
I think on that, and I'm going to throw Rodrigo into this. I think Rodrigo's better when he has Raphinha around him. I thought Rodrigo was good yesterday. Yeah. And I mean, we don't want to go back to a certain someone, but it's just the quality of player. If you've got a better quality of player around you, you're going to be better yourself. But as for yesterday, Harrison did have that quality player around him. He did have Raphinha. He did have Rodrigo. It didn't work for him yesterday for whatever reason. I don't know what it was. He was off it yesterday. And I'm a big Harrison fan. I would still have Harrison above James because I don't think James has done much this week. I do like Harrison, but yesterday he was nowhere near it.
I want to get your thoughts on the fullbacks as well. Yesterday, I thought they were a lot more aggressive. I don't know what you thought about the overlaps and underlaps, which is essentially what we were speaking about last week on the debrief. But I do feel they were a little bit more aggressive. Every time Leeds were going forward, they were trying to pin Wolves fullbacks, essentially towards the back line and towards the byline. KG, were you slightly more enamoured with what you saw from the likes of Stuart Dallas and Jamie Shackleton yesterday?
Dallas definitely in the second half. I thought that he was much better in the second half. Shackleton for me in the first half when Nuri, their left back at Wolves, was having the time of his life on the right hand side, and that's when Raphinha had to come back. Llorente had to go across quite a few times as well. Like there was an ocean of space. There was so much space in between some of our players. Sometimes it was incredible, but Shackleton isn't a natural right back anyway. He's trying to convert into a right back. So, I'm not going to put that on him. But if he's going to do the right back, he's going to have to get back as much as he goes forward a bit quicker. And it gets a much better opposition in the future. But yeah, I mean, it's not overly great at the minute in terms of getting when you look at other teams in the Premier League with their overlapping fullbacks and what they're getting from them. We're getting nowhere near what certain teams are getting. So it was an improvement, though, on previous weeks, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with KJ with Dallas. I thought second half he was far better. Honestly, the amount of space that side had. Raphinha was on our defensive touchline far too often. And getting forward, someone shouted Jamie backwards Shackleton. And honestly, I'd never thought about the amount of times he gets that ball, runs with it, and then checks back and passes backwards. I'd never noticed it before. And then obviously when someone says something, you're looking at, and he does do it an awful lot. But is that a confidence thing, Brown? I think it is a confidence thing. And I said back to him, he's a young lad. He's not a right back. That's not his position. So when you're in that position in the first team, you don't want to give the ball away. So is it a safety thing? Does he have to take the safety catch off a little bit? Because there was one time in the first half where when he did good, he ended up megging. I think he megged him and got into the box. And that was the only time he really did it in the first half. It's just that positivity. But there was a moment, and this is what's probably going to bring Luke Ayling back into the team without having to think too much about it. They had a corner in the first half. And do you know who was picking up Conor Cody? Jamie Shackleton. Because of our height. Conor Cody was being marked by Jamie Shackleton. There was a good foot difference between them. And it was only by luck that the ball didn't get into his area. But we had Llorente picking up, Cooper picking up, Dallas was picking. There's nobody with real any height in that team when you look around it. So I think going forward, I think Ayling will come straight back in. Not that he's been great at set pieces himself, because he does lose a lot of headers. But when you have Shackleton having to mark one of their dominant centre halves, that's a concern for me.
Yeah, definitely. Should we talk about central midfield?
We have a central midfield. When did this position get filled?
Leeds United just defence and attack.
Would we have it any other way, though? Would we have it any other way?
Yes. 100%. KG, fire away, mate. I'm not even going to tee you up this time.
Well, the first thing to say is that Forshaw is fully healthy. Let's get this out open. He's fully healthy, but Bielsa just knows he's not ready to start no Premier League games. Let's not think that Forshaw's half injured right now. He's just not fancied. He didn't come on at any point in the game. Whether he would have if Raphinha didn't go off injured, who knows? But he didn't start against Wolves at home. And I've been saying this for weeks. Like, when is this game gonna come where Forshaw's starting in the Premier League? Because it couldn't be against Burnley because they would have put his hip in too. It can't be against another team because they would have run around. The whole tweet thing is backfiring big time with this Forshaw thing because people keep going back to it and adding new quote tweets on it. It's actually it's actually mad. But again, Matthias Klick, I'm sorry, man. It's not good enough. Like there's other players that we talk about that deservedly get pelted, but for me, because of previous things that he's done, and he's done great things for us, and that's the most frustrating thing. He's just not doing it at all. His passing is non-existent these days, and his shooting is so timid. If it's not a daisy cutter, it goes somewhere over the bar. It's actually what's going on.
Timid is a good word that you just mentioned there, KG, because I feel like with his passing's always under hit. It never gets there. I've noticed a lot of his passing. It's not that it's sloppy and going in the wrong direction. It's just too weak. It's just not. And when he gets to in and around the box, his shooting's the same. And I don't know. I really don't know. And I just can't put my finger on it with him. I really can't. Because like you say, he has done absolute wonders for us. He's been really good. There was a time in the Championship where he was one of the first names on the team sheet for a period of time. Is in there on his own? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Is he doing too much running? It'd be good to look at the running stats. Is he doing more? Is he doing less? I don't know. But there is something amiss.
I think the thing with Klick is I've always almost let him off for not being the complete midfielder and being physically imposing, being really athletic, being able to track your likes of Souček and all these sort of elite Premier League midfielders in terms of when they're bombing on forward. I understand that to an extent, but what we've learned from Matthias Klick over 3 years is his shooting's been reasonably decent. We've got a song named after him in terms of that. And not only that, but technically he's always been very, very gifted in this Leeds United setup. And when those two hallmarks are now being let down, I look at Matthias Klick and think, what is he benefiting to this Leeds United side at this moment in time? Is it just the fact that he understands the system? Is that now the basic premise of just getting into any Leeds United side? You just understand the system, so you're in automatically.
At the minute, he's fit. That is it in a nutshell. At the minute, we're a fully fit squad. I think I actually said, "Can I go home?" No, at the minute he's fit, isn't he? In a fully fit Leeds United squad, does he start? I think that's another question. If everybody's fit, not that it ever happens, but if everybody's fit, would he start? I'm not sure. But on the flip side, I do feel like he's in there on his own.
And I think that's a really good point. And I think to give a little bit of balance to it, Tom has said, I think Klick needs a partner though. He was alone last game and he can't do it all. I mean, we normally see Calvin Phillips. We see Calvin Phillips completely isolated, but I think Klick doesn't always get that, that excuse made for him. That really, I mean, when was the last time he had a proper central midfielder next to him, KG?
Yeah, I mean, there is that. But when Calvin has played with Matthias Klick in the midfield, Calvin has also still done the job of two people. So it's not just the fact that Calvin's not there. Listen, the glaring answer to this, and we all know it, is that we should have bought another central midfielder, and it's as simple as that. But we're going to have to keep going with what we've got right now until at least January. But it really is as simple as that. We didn't buy a central midfielder.
Yeah, 100%. We agree. Like every Leeds fan, man and his dog. What position do you want in the summer? I think everybody would have said centre midfielder straight away, and we weirdly didn't get one. But yeah, I think Tom makes a great point. I do feel like he's in on his own. Look, I like Struijk as a centre half. Not having him as a centre midfielder in the slightest. Sorry. And that's where he was yesterday. I think Struijk himself would openly say he wants to play centre half. When he's at centre half, he's like a Rolls Royce. Put him in the centre midfield, and well, it's not a Rolls Royce. And again, it's that square pegs in round holes sort of thing, isn't it? Because of the squad size, which we touched on last week, we're having to play players, and it feels harsh digging players out because obviously they're doing a job not in their position. So in any walk of life, if you were doing a job that isn't your job, you'd probably not be as good at it. So we can't really dig them out too much. In the end, it was a good point, but in a fully fit squad, Stripe doesn't play there, Shackleton doesn't play there, and it feels like that all the way around the pitch. Dallas doesn't play left back. So if you look at that yesterday, a fully fit squad, Stripe doesn't play centre midfield, Shackleton doesn't play right back, Dallas doesn't play left back. You probably wouldn't have Raphinha in the 10. So, do you know what I mean? Rodrigo wouldn't play up front. So it just feels like we're moving people around constantly. Again, like KG said, because we haven't gone out and bought a centre midfielder.
Yeah. I think as well, I don't know about you guys, but we saw it yesterday as well. Llorente being the main link between the defence and the attack again, and almost taking it upon himself in terms of distribution to be that midfield link as well, KG.
Yeah, he's our best ball playing centre back, and it's not even close. I mean, Robin Kaku, if you can remember him playing, he's very good at that too. But Llorente does have a specific pass that he does that he said he learned from Salgado. Not a bad player to learn from, but he is the link. We are literally defense to attack. It is true what Connor joked about it being no midfield, but that is what we are right now, and he is our best link in pushing and getting that ball forward. And just a bit on what Brownie was saying there, I'm glad Bielsa did change the system around. Raphinha was quoted as going into the 10, but he did stay wide, and it was more Dan James down the middle. Obviously, it didn't work, but at least he tried something. But again, it's that square pegs and round holes thing. But yeah, Llorente for me, I just want him to stay fit. I'm just hoping he gets a good run of games, stay fit, and do his thing from centre back with the ball because he is really good at it.
Yeah, second half especially, I thought Llorente was better. First half, I know people won't like me saying it, but Cooper was probably better. First half, I thought Cooper was probably his best game he's had this season.
Can we touch on him because he seems to have split opinion again after yesterday.
I don't know how he can split opinion yesterday. Honestly, I don't know how he can split opinion yesterday. That was probably his best game.
Might split opinion on here, to be honest.
I don't know. I'm not saying like he's the answer going forward. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying going forward he's going to be our centre half. I'm just purely on that game yesterday. I thought he did well.
Yeah, and this annoyed me yesterday because I don't know, Connor, if you've ever done a video and you missed something out and it annoys you to death that you missed it out. But I was supposed to say that he did a really good job on Traore yesterday, and I didn't get it in. First of all, because my throat was mashed, and then while I did in the bloody chat was annoying me, so it kind of threw me off. But no, he was good in the second half. But all it is for me, and I'm not going to go into it anymore, but it's just concentration over a full 90. That's all it is. And for me, just getting back that Strike and Llorente partnership that works so well in the second half of last season. That's all it is, and that's all I want to say.
Do you know what I did like with Llorente yesterday? And this is not a dig at Cooper. In the first half, Jimenez went rolling around on the floor. Nobody actually touched him. The ref...
Did he? That didn't happen.
The ref actually picked him up. The ref actually helped him up off the pitch. And it was starting to wind me up that not one Leeds player was round the ref, just trying to sort it out. It took until the 83rd, 84th minute for, again, someone else was down holding a leg with cramp in front of the south stand on the edge of the box. Llorente actually ran from centre-back all the way up and started to pick him up himself and was remonstrating with the referee. Now, for me, we have this dirty Leeds. We're soft. We need to. Other teams play the game. Other teams are around the ref. Other teams are in the. Look at Jurgen Klopp. He got Strike sent off. Everybody knows it. He's round the ref. He's in the ref's ear. We don't do it, and it's starting to wire me up a bit.
Is that a Bielsa thing?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, that's a great point. To be fair, that is a good. Something I've not thought about, but I loved Llorente. He literally sprinted 60 yards to say, do you know what? They're taking the piss here. But we don't. It shouldn't take till 84 minutes. They were doing it after 20, but it took that long, and I just loved Llorente doing it because it felt. Do you know what I mean? He gets it. He cares. We're all at the ground paying our money to go watch. We don't want to watch people on the floor. That ball in play. I think there was a stat last year we played Wolves, wasn't there? The ball was in play for like 27 minutes in the second half at Molineux. Honestly, and yesterday it felt the same. It genuinely felt the same. And as fans, you get sick of it. So God only knows what the players like. But yeah, like you say, Bielsa's probably he never comes out and criticises the referee. He never does it, does he? So maybe that's a thing that he's installed, that don't talk to the referee. I don't know, but I want to see it. I want to see other teams do it to us, round the refs, waving hands and saying what's going on.
It's interesting, Brownie, because I think the big one that stood out to me, and when I came out and reviewed exactly what you were talking about, I said it after the Dan James penalty against Newcastle, where it is stone wall, and every other Premier League side absolutely hunts the referee down. They're all getting around him. What on earth is going on? I know apparently that went to VAR, and VAR didn't see it or whatever. I mean, that's the most, as I've said before, it's the most stonewall penalty you'll ever see. So, but it's even just on the pitch, it's putting pressure on the referee. Unfortunately, that's not cheating, everybody in the comments. That's gamesmanship. And that's what it's about in football nowadays. There is a clear difference between competitiveness, gamesmanship, and cheating. There's clear differentials between all three. And that is exactly what every team... You look at the thing which annoyed me yesterday when I was watching this Wolves team, okay? When a player goes down with a head injury, that's a serious thing. That is a really serious thing, and football should stop for that. Now, what really angers me is when you get players playing on that and players making a complete mockery of that rule, which is in place for very, very good reasons. And Wolves were really taking the mick out of that yesterday. And I don't know how you get around that, but it was, I mean, like we've even said with the Raphinha thing, Raphinha when he was tackled, and we'll get onto this now because I think it's quite a perfect link, to be honest. He's remonstrating with the referee, rolling over, all this sort of stuff, which, you know, he should have done because it was a horrendous tackle. But it just seems, obviously, we got away with it against Watford when that was a clear goal, let's be honest, you know, the Cooper-Melier incident. But aside from that, we've been really up against it, KG, in terms of luck this year. And it's been a real struggle.
Yeah, and just on the referee thing, because it's something I've mentioned before in my match reviews. I get where Brownie's coming from 100%, because people are saying that VAR didn't look at that Dan James thing, but if your players are surrounding a ref, that makes, because VAR is human. It's a guy looking at that. If you're just going about your business, they're not going to look at it. They're just going to carry on with the game. But if they're looking and saying, well, what are these players talking about? It makes the referees look. But it's definitely an instruction from Bielsa, 100%. He will not like, you know, referees being hounded by his players, no chance. But they have to do that. You've got to do that in order to, you know, even players on the pitch, just when Dan James is getting fouled quite clearly, just say something, do something, arms up, do something. Let the referees think, because if you're not, the referees will just carry on, and we've had that many times. But KG,
then, you know, like his, like, just on that point, obviously saved your point there that you're just about to get onto, but in terms of his Bilbao side, his Argentina side, they still had gamesmanship about them. What is it about this Leeds side then? You know, what? Because as Brownie said, it does seem a little bit soft, because I remember that Bilbao side. I remember watching them at Old Trafford, and they were all around the referee. They were everywhere. And it just, you know, Ander Herrera, Llorente up top, Munyain, Susaeta, they were all about in the referee's face. And it does seem to have really diminished with him at Leeds. I don't know what it is.
It influences you 100%. I'm not going to name names, but I know a referee in the lower leagues, and if you don't appeal, you don't get it. He openly said to me, if a team isn't appealing for it, why would I create a fuss?
Exactly.
That's the referee's perspective. It's human nature. If someone's not going to have a go at you about something, why would you bring it up? You're not gonna. So if the team aren't appealing for it, why would you create a fuss with both players when they're not even asking for it? And just going
back on the Raphinha decision. Obviously, it's getting compared to a lot with the strike and sending up and things like that. And that's what I was saying at the time. It's not just about Liverpool getting results. You know, big clubs will always get those kind of calls. It's just natural. Again, we talk about referees. they'll always favour the big clubs over the lesser clubs. But it's about precedent being set. And we saw again today, it's great. It happened today with Pogba and Keita. Pogba was closer to the ball than Sainz was yesterday against Raphinha. And it wasn't even a yellow card. When you think about it, he got a yellow card for some dissent or something like that. It wasn't even for the tackle. It's because they kept going on about it or something like that. So that tackle yesterday that did injure Raphinha didn't even receive a yellow card. So again, it's about consistency with referees, and it's just not there.
Well, at first they didn't even give it, because I actually asked who gave that foul, because the liner didn't flag, the referee didn't blow up straight away. Has it come from the fourth official? I don't know, but like you made a massive point there with the Dan James tackle. Not one Leeds player appealed for it. Not one.
Dan James got up and just ran off. I was just like, what? Yeah, just nuts.
But like, if you go back to, well, I know you can't do it like in the mid-90s. You'd have, like, when Man United would play Arsenal, like, with that great rivalry, you'd have 8 or 9 players around the ref, and like you said, refs are human. If you've got people moaning at you, at some point you are going to give them a decision, and it's not cheating. It's different teams play the game differently. Like Wolves used the head one. I mean, Conor Cody in the last 3 Leeds games has blocked a shot and held his head.
Yeah.
In the last 3 Leeds games, he has blocked a shot. One was with his chest, and he's gone down holding his head to stop the attack. And it's just playing the game, isn't it?
And just on that, Brownie, you would think that they, of all people, would know the consequence of that with Jimenez with his head injury, and yet they're doing it for gains in a game. It's actually quite disgusting when you break it down like that, because it's that their man had a cracked skull. So, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's a great point, and I think I tweeted it. It was just it was just poetic that we scored deep into injury time after they had fast about. Honestly, 6 minutes went up. It could have been double figures. It should have been double figures. And the first half, 1 minute got added on at the end of the first half. These teams kill the clock, and not enough time goes on for me.
Yeah. As well, guys, there is 450 of you watching live. Thank you so much on your Sunday evenings. I presume a lot of you are going to work tomorrow. So make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. This is the debrief. We're going to be bringing it to you every Monday. It's just my fault that it is Sunday this week. Apologies for that. Shall we touch on... I do want to touch on Joffy a little bit more. I feel like that's the good feeling from yesterday. I know, KG, you were talking about him being, you think he should be starting, and I would agree with that. I'm really interested to see, if there is a fully fit Leeds United offensive line, would you still be starting him, or do you think that's when he goes to the bench?
You mean if Bamford's back?
Yeah, let's say if we've got fully fit.
No, not at this point, because it's and I said this in my video actually. It's kind of gone unsaid just how much we've missed Bamford up front for him pressing from the front. The way we have to play, we need that striker to do all the dirty work, and we've missed that a lot from Bamford. He's been it's kind of gone low key. We've missed Phillips. I think Phillips and Raphinha being out has been the focal points, but we've definitely missed Bamford's presence up front. So for me, not at this moment in time, I would start Bamford if he's ready to go. But if we're going to put in someone behind, why not try Gelhardt too? He maybe can play as a second striker. I just think that the team does need this kind of injection of new players in it, because I think it has gone a little stale, if we're being completely honest of where we are right now. So yeah, no, for me, if you're saying 1 for 1, I would get Bamford back in, yeah.
So who would come out for you then?
For me, Rodrigo.
Interesting. Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on. Yeah. Okay. Rodrigo. Yeah, an interesting performance yesterday, wasn't it, Brownie, with Rodrigo? Once again, splitting opinion. Obviously got the goal at the end. How do you summarise his performance, mate?
I thought he was good yesterday. I thought he was good. He profited from Raphinha being back in the team. I think when Raphinha doesn't play, Rodrigo's non-existent. I accept that. But I think he just links. I don't know. I just think he links well when Raphinha's playing a lot better than other players do up there. Bamford is a stonewall starter whenever he's fit. But if you drop in Rodrigo, I don't know. Not for me personally. I would if you Rodrigo, Raphinha, Bamford, and then Harrison or James when everyone's fit. Obviously, that doesn't ever happen. I probably would start Gelhardt. At the weekend, but I would still start Rodrigo as well.
It's interesting,
For
isn't
me,
it?
Geldardt's ahead of Roberts. For me.
Oh yeah.
He said it. He said
it. Me, you, and KG are ahead of Roberts. I'm joking. No, I do. I think Geldardt's ahead of Roberts, and Roberts starts a lot of games. So why not?
It's interesting. It's an interesting chat. I mean, we saw as well yesterday on Raphinha's Instagram that he's going to be back soon. Now, Bamford said the same. That's where my head goes straight away. When Raphinha says he's back soon, KG, are you thinking he's going to be back for Norwich, or are you thinking it's going to be an extended period of time? What's your perception of it, mate? I know it's difficult for us to derive anything from it, but
I don't know, because when Forshaw was first injured, he said he was back soon as well. Remember that? So who knows what soon is? There's a I don't know what the microscope for soon is. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious. If he's posted that out, he's obviously had permission to do so as well by the club. I would suggest it's not going to be too long. Hopefully, if anything, maybe it's just missing the Norwich game. But to be fair, I want him to be in that Norwich game because I think he can do some absolute damage against there. I think he'll feast on Norwich. I think he'll be ugly if he plays. So yeah. Hopefully he's back for the next game. But I guess we'll get updates as the week goes on.
Yeah, for me, if he's tweeting that or Instagramming that on a Saturday night, hours after it's happened, I don't think there's much to worry about personally. If you're feeling a load of swelling, a load of impact, legs up in the air in icing in a cast or in a boot, he Instagrammed it like 3 or 4 hours after the game. For me, if it's really bad, you're still in some discomfort, and I don't think you're putting that out there. I mean, even the club retweeted it. Yeah, it's not for me. I think if he was in serious doubt of being out, he's not putting that out on a Saturday night for me.
No, hopefully it's just impact. Niall Smith says Rodrigo stepped up last 20 minutes once Raf went off and really showed his energy and tracking back, winning the ball and linking it with Joffy, my man of the match. That's why football is brilliant. Gamer guy Ethan says, do you think Phillips will start against Norwich? I think the beauty of this and the beauty of us conversing about this is the fact that, we're looking at a scenario, hopefully, in a real must-win game where obviously Raphinha, hopefully, touch wood, will be back in the starting lineup, and you've then got Phillips, which after a result like, go on, mate.
Sorry, I'm going to say, do you think he's left him out on purpose, Connor, knowing that Norwich is a must-win?
Yeah, I think it would definitely be tactical from Bielsa. I mean, when you quote in and saying someone's healthy in a press conference, for me, that's essentially saying that he's fit, but he doesn't want to put him in right at this moment. So yeah, I mean, I think 100% he's waiting for the perfect game, and having Phillips and Raphinha in that side with the option now of Gelhardt potentially starting. There's got to be a fire in the belly there, hasn't there, KG, and real momentum going into that. Even though we haven't got a win, it does feel in a way a little bit like a win.
Well, I'll leave that for you to say that. It didn't feel like a win to me, okay? It was a draw, all right? That's all I'm going to say. It was a draw. So none of this passion merchant, it felt like a win stuff when we're 17th in the league. But no, the last 20 minutes is what you're hoping that we're going to see going forward. I think that's the main point that people want to take from the game is that we saw the Leeds of old in the last 20 minutes, and hopefully we get that against Arsenal in a lesser sense, but more so against Norwich and beyond. So if we can get that Leeds back, we'll be more than fine. No need to worry about this season, but we need to see that more consistently than we've done so far this season.
What are you doing?
Sorry, go on. I think it's just hit me. We've been on 55 minutes, and we're in that much of a precarious position. We've not even mentioned we've got a chance to go to a quarter-final of a League Cup.
Yeah, we have. And James has said, who do you think plays versus Arsenal in the Cup? So let's get on to that. KG, Arsenal away. Are you bothered?
Yeah, I want a cup run, man. It's been so long that we've had a decent cup run. To be at this stage, it seems like a victory so far because we're usually out by now. So would I prefer one in the FA Cup? Yeah, but we're here now, so let's give it a go. Arsenal are hit and miss themselves, so let's see what we can do against Arsenal. Maybe take it to penalties and go through. But yeah, I do want a cup run. It's just a couple games away from the final, so yeah, let's go for it.
I'm bothered when I'm paying £8 for an hot dog on Tuesday night. I'll be bothered. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I am bothered. Who we play, I don't know because we haven't got any players. But I mean, Arsenal have hit a bit of form themselves, haven't they, over the last month to 6 weeks? Will it be an easy game? No, but I am definitely bothered. Would it surprise me if he played Phillips? No. It's just nothing surprises me with him. Nothing surprises me. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me.
Raphinha start.
Gelhardt will play Tuesday night. I'm convinced.
Yeah, he started Phillips against Crew, didn't he? So he very well may start him against Arsenal this Tuesday. Maybe so.
Yeah, Robbie says, don't fancy us versus Arsenal. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't think their second string side is definitely probably levels above ours. Well, it is levels above ours. There's no probability about it. But I think what I would like to see, I'd like to see Cody Drame play. I think there's been so much hype about him. I still think he's not had his chance yet because of, Jamie Shackleton and Luke Ayling, of course. But, he's one who I think there was a couple of articles about him about 6 months ago now, which essentially said out of the Leeds under 23 setup, they believe him and Joe Gelhardt are going to go on to have very, very good Premier League careers. So Drame is definitely someone in that under 23 setup I would like to see start. Obviously, Joffy, I'd like to see Somerville start as well. It'd be nice to see Cresswell in there. So listen, Lewis Bate as well. Wouldn't it be fantastic to see Lewis Bate just start in the middle, maybe alongside Nadam for sure? So as much as we're all looking at it and thinking, listen, the Premier League is obviously the priority, this could be a real yardstick for some of our youngsters to stake a claim.
We started Robbie Gotts there last year, the year before, because of COVID last year. But the last time we went to the Emirates in the Cup, Robbie Gotts started centre midfield and did fairly well.
I'm hoping Lewis Bate in Barrow next year, though, Brownie.
No, but I don't know. But I just want to touch on the fact that I'm not sure of any other ground in the country 1-0 down on the run that we've had that would lift a team like Ellen Road did on Saturday. Honestly, it was weird because we weren't. What was it like? I wasn't there, so
I
don't know what it was. Just I was thinking at the time when it was happening. I'm thinking this ground, this crowd deserves something. They deserve a performance. They deserve something. Just give us something, because like KG said, everybody's gone home ecstatic. Brilliant, we got a 1-1, but up until that last 20 minutes, it still was pretty bleak. And the crowd from nowhere just generated, and I think it generally did lift the players. It really did, and I don't think of many grounds in the country where that had happened. Gives me nightmares of him.
That was scripted. That was scripted, wasn't it? When Thierry Henry made his return and we happened to be the team that he comes back against and scores. It was just like a movie script, that game, the game that Joe Madigan's on about. So
Were you there? Were you there, JB?
No. I was watching that one on TV, but as soon as I saw him come on, I said, "Yeah, I know exactly what's going to happen here." And
it was just Henry-esque as well, how he just opened up his body and whipped it round on his right. Anyway, we don't have to worry about him. Just Lacazette and Aubameyang on Tuesday night instead.
Yeah, easy. No problem there. But yeah, fellas, what I'll do is we will leave it there. We've been going for an hour. It's been absolutely fantastic. There's been 480 of you last time I looked, and there's been about an average of 460 of you who've stayed with us through the full journey here. So thank you so much. You're all loving the debrief. I'm getting loads of messages on Twitter and Instagram saying keep it up, and you're enjoying it, and you want to see more of the debrief. So yeah, we'll get our heads together and figure something out. But thank you so much for joining. Once again, both of you giving up your time. KG and Brownie, I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Just to say, if anybody does subscribe to my channel, please don't watch the last video I did. I didn't feel great in that one. Watch the one before. Watch the temperature test. That one's better. But for some reason, everyone keeps on watching the last one. You know, one of them kind of where you don't feel you've done your best. But that one seems to be doing the numbers. Like, watch the one before.
You're not pinning it to the top of your channel as the video.
I didn't even tweet it out, Connor. I'm just,
oh no.
So yeah, if you're subscribing to the channel, check the temperature test. That's me at my best. Not the one yesterday. I was mashed up yesterday. So
I like the thumbnail for the Roberts one was perfect as well. There's a question about Roberts and then your face. It was fantastic. Brownie.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Has Brownie got a channel? No, we'll set him up. We'll set him one up one day. We'll make him one. He's an absolute technophobe, so we'll set him one up one day. But go follow Brownie's Twitter. He's got loads of interesting. We have conversations on there. Brownie's Twitter is lively, put it that way. But KG always follow KG.
Because I can't hold my tongue. I can't hold my tongue. And I'll genuinely open that. If someone disagrees, it's not even disagreeing, but if I just think someone's opinion is, I won't swear, ridiculous, then I can't hold my tongue.
Yes, it's entertaining, and that's why we've got this three here, this trio, because nobody's shy of an opinion.
Connor, just before we go back of the net, yes, that yesterday's was my Southampton away. That's definitely a good way to describe yesterday's video. I was not feeling great. You can and also on my socials, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, but I don't really do much on Twitter these days except for promote my channel. So yeah, have at it.
Yeah. Go follow KG on all. I'll get all the socials in the description below anyway, if you fancy going and following those. But we'll be back, guys, next Monday. So make sure, as I say, you're liking the videos. Make sure you subscribe. Get the notification bell on. So every time we're about to upload, I won't always put it on socials because I can be lazy sometimes. So notification bell switched on, and you'll be notified instantaneously. Guys, thank you so much, and we will see you in a bit. Cheers.